Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the also controversial Shawn Walsh Show. I am, of course, your host as always. Some would even say the most hated man in all of Call Wrestling, Shawn Walsh. And I don't know if I'm the most hated man, but pretty well not liked by some of you. Just like my guest today, Ultimate Nitro, who up until a few weeks ago was very loved by all the Call Wrestling fans. That was until Ultimate Nitro took his frustrations to the Call Shoot page, made a post. It didn't come across the way he wanted it to, and a lot of people were very, very, very angry with what Nitro had to say. So he lost some fans. He gained some haters. Didn't really help himself there, but Nitro wasn't going out to get hate. He was expressing his opinion. He just did it. He didn't do it the right way. He worded things wrong. He came across the wrong way. Let's just put it like that. And Nitro is, in fact, going to talk about that today. Now, most of this interview has been recorded for a couple weeks now before the whole Call Shoot incident. However, earlier this week, I got in contact with Nitro and I said, Nitro, the fans want to hear your response to what happened on the Call Shoot page. I can't just pretend it didn't happen, even though this episode was pre-recorded. So, me and Nitro, we got together on Skype and we recorded a little portion where Nitro's going to address the controversy, which you're going to hear at the end of the episode. So, for people looking forward to that, the controversial opinions, the controversial statements, all that and more is on the show. Because what's the Shawn Walsh Show without controversy? Before we get to that, I'm going to take a moment and talk about some projects I have going on, such as my association with the Flying Jelly Bean website, which will be launching sometime in the next week, flyingjellybeans.com. Don't forget to go to the Facebook page, Flying Jelly Beans. You heard it right. That's the Facebook page. Go hit that like button. Lots of information will be coming out in regard to the website and social media accounts, including the Twitter account of one of the programs on Flying Jelly Beans, that being 4th and Goal. 4th and Goal is an upcoming football podcast with myself, AJ Young, and Andrew, a.k.a. Fisk, where we talk about the NFL and all that's going on, all the news stories, all that and also much more is going to be on there. 4th and Goal, that's the name of the show. You can also follow us on the fire-breathing Twitter machine at 4th, which is 4TH and AND Goal FJB. Go follow us. We have a Twitter account set up. Episodes will be released upon the release of the brand new website, which you will hear about in the coming weeks. Don't forget, Facebook page, like it, love it, but actually hit the like button. And you will see all the upcoming programming when it's released. Also, I was a little busy last night, which is why this episode is a little later. I attended a wrestling event in my local area. There was a nice meet and greet session, which I got to meet my all-time favorite wrestler of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart, which was truly an honor for me. I was so excited to meet Bret Hart, and if you've seen the pictures, you have me out on Facebook, you've seen my picture with the Hitman. It was really incredible. Also, I got to meet Dean Malenko, which was interesting. I didn't think he would be there, but I saw he was there, and I was like, I gotta get me a picture with Dean Malenko. And then also Mr. Anderson, which Mr. Anderson was great as always. Second time meeting Mr. Anderson, and it was a blast. I also had the wrestling event, which was incredible, great event, very money well spent, good show, and so yeah, really fun night. But due to that, the episode was not out Friday night, and I was sleeping for a lot of today's, and I had some work to do in the morning. And by morning, I mean 2 o'clock. So this is why the episode's out a little bit later, but it's out. It's here. Shawn Walsh Show is here. Never here to disappoint. Always here to please the fans. That's what I do. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give the fans what they want, and what they want is to hear from Ultimate Nitro. So I'm not going to keep flapping my gums for much longer. I'm going to go send it to my interview with the COH Internet Champion, Ultimate Nitro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shawn Walsh Show, and today I am joined by the COH Internet Champion, Ultimate Nitro. What's up, Nitro?
It is a pleasure to be on this show here, Shawn. It's really good.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I know you've been really wanting to be on the show. So much so, when I posted about it, you messaged me, and you're like, "What? I better be on your goddamn show next."
No, I remember it specifically. Just go like, "Bitch, I better be the next one on there." Yeah, so yeah, I've been really anticipating this.
I saw that. I got scared. I'm like, I should probably have Nitro on. So, you're here to show the world? No. But you're here on the Shawn Walsh Show, so let's get the ball rolling. What is the first call?
No? I'll still ask the first question.
You're gonna ask the question?
Yes, I am.
Okay, take it away, Jay.
I know the cameo. I do this often in an interview. Nitro, let's say I give you a cookie, right? Let's say we meet up, right? And I give you a cookie to give you because I care about you. Would you eat it?
Coming from you, Jay, I probably would eat it.
Thank you. Well, explain it. How about this? Then explain, why did Kenyon Phoenix, aka Adam, who's also in this call, threw away my cookie that I bought him with my money that I gave him?
Because Adam is a jackass.
Thank you, that is all.
I'm okay with that.
Thank you, Adam. Now, I guess this would be the second question. What is the first call wrestling show that you've ever seen?
First call wrestling show, like in general, or like the shooter call feds?
In general.
It would probably have to be SCAW back in 2007, I believe.
Yeah.
It was either that or No DQ CAW. I can't remember which one it was, but it was either one of them back in 2007.
Do you remember what game it was on?
I believe it was WWE Day of Reckoning 2.
Oh, then it would be No DQ.
Okay, yeah, definitely No DQ then. I remember seeing that and I was just and I just got really fascinated by that.
So you just, came across it just on YouTube, or?
Yeah, it was just randomly came up on YouTube somewhere, and I was just going like, this is really interesting, and the rest is pretty much history.
Oh, nice. Because see, and that's what a lot of people, they don't know about you, which I think is cool. Even though in recent years you've been really coming to your own, especially in this last year with COH, you've been around the call world for quite some time. And you've seen call wrestling shows of all kinds, even years ago. Like, even before the shooter feds and everything, like you said, for whether it be SAEW or No DQ. Do you remember much from No DQ, or? 'Cause that was sort of later,
I remember it's a really big trend with a lot of the feds back in the day. They would either use their own original characters, or they would use, let's say, cartoon or anime characters. Heck, most feds still do that today.
Yeah.
And really, it's just the idea of having, like, all those characters in, like, fantasy leagues fighting against one another. It's just that really fun aspect of CAW that I liked back in the day that made it so interesting to young me.
Now, when it comes to people with their fantasy CAWs, what are your thoughts on fantasy CAW?
Fantasy CAW as in?
As in, like, if your show has animated characters, if it has Spider-Man, if it has just people from television shows or whatever that's just created, or actual people in your show instead of creations or yourself. So a show like No DQ or SCAW would be good examples of that.
Yeah. My opinion on that is, so long as they remain, like, pure to the characters, I don't see why you can't have that sort of those sorts of feds still going around, because it is sort of fun in a way to have that sort of element to your CAW.
So, Nitro, to follow up, do you feel like there's always going to be an audience for fantasy wrestling?
Oh, there definitely is always going to be an audience for that sort of thing, considering that nowadays with the rise of pop culture and everything, there's always going to be people that are going to be just going like, oh, what if X goes into a fight with Y? And then you could probably throw that into like a wrestling match and everything, and the rest is pretty much there.
I definitely agree. With some fantasy CAW shows, it evolved to original CAW feds, as they're referred to as. What original CAW feds, where people created their own CAWs, did you watch? Did you watch any shows like DWF, ECW, or FTW, or any shows like that?
Not that I really know of. I never really got around to watching those kinds of CAW shows, unfortunately. I realize it's gonna get a lot of flack on my back and everything, but I never really got into those sorts of feds up until, like, more recently.
Right. What's the first CAW show you actually joined? Is it YTCW, or?
Oh yeah, it was YTCW.
Alright, now, YTCW, that's an interesting show. Now, although I didn't watch YTCW, I know the reputation YTCW has, and that's not a very good one. Are you with Steve and Alex and Travis and among other people who don't have good feelings for YTCW?
Admittedly, yes.
Why so?
Because, much like Travis, Alex, and Steve probably have already mentioned, the booking of YTCW was ultimately its downfall. David was constantly flip-flopping around on different ideas for feuds. He was always showing some sort of favoritism towards different superstars. He was always trying to push certain guys that he felt he was best buddies with and everything. And worst of all, he was constantly quitting and then coming back. The worst examples being where he pretty much left Travis in charge of YTCW for about a month or so, and then he came back and then pretty much said, nope, not happening anymore. And the final one where he pretty much gave it to Steve back in 2012 or 2013, I believe. And then he came back, deleted everything of Steve's, and then just said, nope, if anybody doesn't like this, they can piss off.
Alright.
I have a follow-up to, that question, Nitro. How did you meet David? How did you run into YTCW?
I randomly just came across YTCW like I did just searching through any other call feds and everything, and I discovered YTCW through, like, the related section, so it came about through random chance in a way. But when I saw that, and I saw all of these, like, shooters and YouTube wrestling community stars on there, and they were sort of making their own personas and everything, that got my interest quite a lot, and that just made me think, hey, what if I got in on this? Because, again, young me wanted to have a bit of fun with that sort of thing, and he wanted to feel a part of something. So yeah, so pretty much getting into YTCW back in like late 2007, although I wouldn't debut until 2008, was sort of the groundwork for me, as it were.
Alright, do you have any very fond memories of YTCW, some things you're very proud of that are really cool that happened?
In the later years, I definitely got that sort of more, what's the word? That sort of experience to try and do more promos for the show. Because the one thing that I never really did up until a certain point was do like voice or video promos. And there was a big reason for that. When I joined YTCW, I believe I was either 11 or 12 at the time. And if you're watching a show with like with other young adults and like 18 through to 20-year-olds, you do not want to see a little kid doing like all these badass wrestling promos trying to make himself look tough. It just seems pathetic. So I never really did that until like 2012, when I actually did sort of have more bass in my voice, when I looked more mature and everything. And really, that sort of confidence really got me more up there in YTCW, as it were.
Alright. Now, with YTCW, did you end up leaving YTCW, or did you stay till the end, or what happened with YTCW?
Pretty much, when I found out what happened with Steve, I pretty much just said, well, that's fucking it for me. If this is really how David's gonna be with this whole bullshit, I'm out. Because it was by that point where I was pretty much almost done with the company, as it were. And really, everybody else, like Copeland, Steve, fucking Morris and everything, they were pretty much jumping ship and everything. And it was around that time where I rediscovered COH. And it was mainly due to the fact that, Travis, sent me a private message through YouTube a couple years ago, asking if I could make a quote-unquote cameo at the first Ultimate Glory in a supposed interpromotional match. I've re-looked at that email, and I pretty much just said to myself, what if I joined this one, seeing as it's looking pretty good? Because it was around that time that I started to look back through everything, and I looked at the OBN angle, and that really caught my eye. And I was just thinking, crap, I should have joined this fed a long time ago. So pretty much after jumping ship from YTCW to COH, pretty much it was one of the best decisions I ever made.
Well, you mentioned how you had that match at Ultimate Glory, but you didn't end up joining. Is that a regret of yours? That, like, if you would have gone back, would you have definitely continued with COH and gone through it instead of waiting to when you did join around the OBN angle and stuff like that?
I feel as though I probably wouldn't have gotten that much of a fan base as I do right now if I had joined COH back then. Because, in a way, I guess the veterans of COH as they were right now, they fit that time perfectly.
Right.
I mean, you have Democracy, you have Bateman, you have Zane, you have even Alex. You have people like that that were back during like the first few years of COH. And really, if I joined around that time, I probably wouldn't have fit what they had at the time. So really, joining COH last year was probably one of the best choices I ever made.
So you feel you came in at the right time?
Yeah, I definitely came in at the right time, especially for my character and all that.
Okay. From the shift from YTCW to COH, were there any shows in between that you were also part of at all?
I was a part of Scott Adams' promotion, VCW, for a while. Yeah. I remember being a part of the original VCW that came out about, like, 2010, I believe, but that was short-lived. And then I came in to the new VCW that started in 2013. It was a little in between one, but Scott's a good friend of mine, so I figured I may as well join him.
Yeah. So, is that one thing for VCW? Because I know VCW, it's been a show that it always looks awesome because Scott always has phenomenal logos. He always has, it looks phenomenal, but the show doesn't end up lasting too long, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it has to do with Scott's personal issues, unfortunately. I mean, he's always going to the hospital recently, and he's had some sort of depression issues recently. That and his technical issues at the time, like his capture card and all that. And it also has to do with his, actually drive to actually do it, because, unfortunately, not everybody has that drive to keep on doing it for long periods of time.
Right. But then you come into COH, right? And you came in part of the brand new Slam roster, guys that were competing on Slam. Travis introduced Slam, threw all the new guys on there, and pretty much you guys got to work to get the Battleground. And you, specifically you and Fisk, at least in my opinion, were and a lot of other people's opinions, were the two standouts of that show, and gave people a reason to watch that show because, well, you guys were great. There were some people on that show that weren't so great, and there was a reason why they were on Slam.
Well, Donovan Rucker wasn't terrible.
No. There were other good people. Like, Rucker was really good, but there were just some people who were on there who they just couldn't cut it on the mic and whatnot, and which is why they were on Slam, because they had to work for it. They had to get ready. Like Shards. But at least...
Walker.
Yes. But at least people like you and Fisk gave people like me a reason to watch the show. I'm like, oh, I gotta see what these guys are doing. So, what was your thought when you got put on Slam? Did you feel like did you feel like you should have been right to Battleground? Did you feel you were with all these guys that were just shit, and you were thrown in with shitty guys, and you felt you deserved more, or did you think it was right to go to Slam right away?
I felt it was the good idea to go to Slam because really almost nobody knew who I was outside of COH. Like, they probably knew me because of my one instance at the first Ultimate Glory, but that would probably be it. And really, I think it was a good idea because it gives the perfect opportunity for me to reinvent the Nitro character. Because, unfortunately, I could only do so much in YTCW where it could pretty much just be drowned out and everything. So, with COH, I felt I could reinvent the Nitro character for this Fed and see what I could do with it. And what do you know? It worked out perfectly.
Oh yeah, it worked out perfectly. You were on Slam, and now there was a tournament on Slam to determine a #1 contender for the Pride Championship. It came to an end with the finals of two of my favorites on the show, yourself and Fisk. Very fitting. What are your thoughts on that match with Fisk? Because from that show, and I only knew you guys a little bit from what I've seen on Slam, I thought it was one of the better matches on the show, and I thought your guys' promos for it were incredible, especially for being the Slam match.
Match of the year contender.
Oh yeah.
Jeez, if it's coming from Travis, it must be a good one. But, in my personal opinion, I felt like it was one of my favorite matches, probably my top 5 from my matches from last year, because it had so much going into it. Like, the character Nitro had a lot to prove because it was his first big challenge facing off against someone like Fisk. And he also had a lot to prove because, unfortunately, Fisk had pretty much just, well, in the Slam before the Guerrilla Warfare pay-per-view, Fisk had pretty much just abandoned Nitro in a match against the Trailer Park Boys with his partner Rucker at the time. Mm-hmm. So really, it was just getting vengeance for that, as well as a lot of different things that happened during the Slam 8 tournament. So really, and if you go back to that match, the promos, like you said, were really good, and it helped the build-up of that match. And to me, that was perfect because it made it seem like it was a big thing for both Nitro and Fisk. because Fisk has this big undefeated streak that he has to keep on going, and he wants to keep it going against Nitro. But Nitro does not really care about the undefeated streak. He just wants to prove that he can beat the odds. And really, that's what I feel like Nitro's character in COH has just pretty much become. Someone who wants to just overcome any obstacle and pretty much overtake any sort of challenge in his way. Heck, that's sort of the reasoning behind why he wants to become that internet champion so much.
Now, with the match with Fisk, Fisk won the match and Fisk got the Pro Title shot. Do you feel that Fisk should have been the one, ignoring the whole undefeated streak, do you feel Fisk should have been the one to win the tournament and go on and fight Amir for the Pride title, or do you feel it should have been you?
I definitely feel like it should have been Fisk. Like, he had so much momentum going into that match, like, ignoring the undefeated streak. He had so much going into that match because of who he was facing and because of his promos and everything, and really, aside from myself, I feel like he just had that sort of element to him. And besides, he's a big beast. It's not like a high five like myself at the time was really going to be able to beat him.
Mm-hmm. So, that happens. Fisk, he moves on to Battleground. He's going to fight Amir, and he goes on to the Elimination Chamber match at Ready to Rumble, and he wins the Pride Championship, which I was very happy to see, and I'm sure you were.
Indeed.
But for you, it wasn't the same journey right away. You didn't go to Battleground and start things up. You stayed on Slam for a little bit, for quite a while. I mean, I know I felt you were ready, even though you lost, to go right to Battleground, but you were still on Slam. Did you feel like, what am I still doing here? Did you feel you still needed to be on Slam at that point? What was that like for you?
I feel as though, yeah, for a while I was just going like, why am I still on Slam again? I mean, by that time it was almost Anniversary 3, and I was really just itching to get off the roster because really, if people like Fisk and Stefan Guerrero were getting off Slam to Battleground, why wasn't I at the time? And then the feud with Scott happened, and the rest pretty much is history.
I have a question. Sorry for interrupting you. Did you feel like, essentially, Socko made a point here, like, Shawn, not Socko. Socko's my real. Tom made a point, like, you and Fisk and Stefan Guerrero, were pretty much the, faces of Slam. Did you feel like there was pressure on you to carry Slam when they all left to, like, Battleground? And you're pretty much the only one left.
Unfortunately, yes, because really, when you looked at the Slam roster,
it sucked. Yes, we know that. It was just you and Rucker.
Yeah, it was just me and Rucker at the time. So really, Aha Country had to pretty much carry Slam when Slam wasn't really doing too hot.
No.
I mean, yeah, sure, you had people like David Rivera and everything, but you still had people like Ace Walker, you still had people like freaking, who else was on there at the time?
No, again, isn't like a diss to Slam guys current, well, you know, when it was the rookie show.
Oh, no, this is not me trying to diss the Slam guys or anything, like, they're doing a pretty good job right now, like.
It was just for the mere fact that there weren't much star power, like, there were you, Rucker, you, Fisk, and stuff, like, there wasn't much star power at all during those times.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I did feel that, unfortunately. And it was mainly because it didn't seem like the Slam guys were really doing that much to really make the Slam roster that more credible in my eyes.
Well, you know what? Instead of blaming, so-and-so, let's just blame AJ for everything because we always do. So yeah, come on, AJ.
Damn it, AJ.
God damn it, AJ.
Well, there's someone who Jay mentioned who I just remembered I have to ask this. where it was you and Fisk who were dominant on Slam. There was also Stephon Guerrero. And Stephon Guerrero, he made his debut on Slam. Not too long afterwards, he was on Battleground. He feuded with Justin Bateman. Did you feel that Stephon Guerrero went to Battleground at the right time? Did you feel it was too fast? And also, did you feel he deserved it before you?
If I can be brutally honest here, I feel like Stephon going to Battleground around the time that after Fisk and before I did, I felt it was a bit too soon. Like, I realize Stephon is really good and all that. I mean, he really has gotten better with his promo work and everything. Like, I respect the guy and everything, and we're doing something this season and everything. But, and this is a big but, Bateman should not have pushed him that soon.
So alright. So you feel way too fast, and also you feel that him going right to Justin Bateman was, like you said, way too soon. He should have, if he was going to Battleground, worked his way to Bateman.
And that's not Stephon's fault.
No. It's not Stephon's fault.
If anything, it was just that at the time, Justin wanted a young guy to feud with. Mm-hmm. And that was just around the time his feud with Nathan Roberts flopped.
Yeah.
So I just think Stephon just got lucky. He was just at the right place at the right time. Justin saw his promo and said, Travis, I want to feud with that guy.
Clearly, no offense to Mr. Bateman. I know he'll probably be.
Yeah, this is no offense to, like, if we, like, I'm just gonna be honest here. If I mention anyone in, like, a somewhat negative light, this is not mean to be, like, to take a jab at anyone. I'm just trying to speak my mind here, because isn't that really what the show's about?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. So, and I mean, me, I don't care if I offend anyone. Okay, I don't care if I get someone upset unless it's unright, but that's just me. I know you don't want to offend anyone, but if they don't like it, anyway, as I get the dislikes, you're still in Slam, but then things get started with Scott, because Scott was the Internet Champion, and Scott chose you to be the guy to beat him for his championship.
Yeah, and to me, that felt like a big honor because, well, out of all the people on, like, Battleground and Slam he could probably drop it to, he chose me to drop it to. That was like a big honor for me.
And I know, because some things I was told, or some things I was just there, you guys worked on this feud even before it happened. He chose you. He's like, alright, if I'm losing this title, I'm going to lose it to someone who is good, and I'm going to have a great feud. And you guys worked things out. Now, I know things didn't exactly pan out how you originally thought it would be.
Yeah, we had, like, a lot of plans. Like, originally it was meant to go for, like, a 2 CBV feud where I apparently got screwed over by Scott and I would like a rematch, and then I would actually win at Anniversary. But unfortunately that didn't pan out that well because of Anniversary coming so soon after Raid or Rumble and no CBV like Summerfest happening in between, so we just made do with what we had to.
Right. Is there anything that you wish was different about the feud? Maybe something you guys originally planned like that, or something you can look back and be like, you know, I really wish this happened or this didn't happen.
I just honestly wish we had, like, one more match in between the first match on Slam and the final match at Anniversary. Because that would just make it seem that much more better. And initially we were planning to have this whole thing where, at the Anniversary match, it would be the stipulation that if I lost, I could never challenge for the Internet Championship again, so long as Scott was champion. So pretty much it would just leave that much more of an impact if going into a match for Nitro, because it would be his last chance at the title for a while, because well, if Scott won, he would still be champion for a while, and Nitro would be really bitter about the whole thing.
Okay. Did you feel that even though you were feuding with Scott, it was the Internet Championship on the line, led to the anniversary, that you weren't quite there yet is in regards to being part of Battleground? Because you had that feud, it was a Battleground-like feud, it was important, and it happened on Slam. That's not a bad thing, because it gave Slam a reason for people to watch. But did you feel it was, you weren't quite there, like you were like, oh, I half made it to the main show?
Well, at the time, during like the whole Slam bits and everything, I felt like it was growing to that point, that I was getting to Battleground. But I feel like the defining moment for me actually came, not actually before the match, but I feel as though it came a bit before the actual anniversary title match.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Because if you remember, I took part in the Survival of the Fittest tournament, and there were a few moments in there where I felt like, yeah, I'm actually making that much of an impact now. Because if you look back on the final moments of my match with Patriot and AJ and somebody else, I can't remember right now, but I remember one moment that I made a focal point afterwards, where I used my finisher on both of them around, like, I think 5 seconds after one another.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I used that to my advantage, just going like, am I Battleground material now? And I even made that part of a promo that I made before the match.
Well, it did work out, because if it wasn't official, if it was like you were half there, definitely after you won the title, there was no doubt you made it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, in my promo, and this is actually to you, Travis, right now, like, when I actually said in my promo that I was gonna bench Scott Adams, I never expected I was gonna actually bench him that hard. Because remember, I used one of my finishers on, like, the announce table, I used it on a steel chair, I used it on Scott Adams' own thing, like the steel steps, and I even did it from, like, the top ropes. And I was just going like, Jesus! I really am benching the bastard.
You're a man of your word.
That I am.
Now, after Anniversary, you beat Scott, you're the champion, it's the road to Ultimate Glory, this is the next show, and you ended up fighting Copeland. Now, was that your choice? Did you decide that you wanted to fight Copeland? Was that Travis's decision? Was that Copeland's decision? Whose decision was it for that match to happen?
I'm just gonna spill the beans right now. As soon as I found out from Scott that I was winning the internet title from him, I immediately messaged Copeland saying, dude, we got a feud immediately after I win the internet title. And Copeland just agreed automatically, and we were setting up this big feud for Ultimate Glory and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But around the time of Anniversary and everything, where he made the announcement that he was retiring, plans had to change.
Mm-hmm.
Because initially we were going to set up this huge feud where we were going to be like setting up. It was similar to how we initially did it, but without the whole thing of retirement, where it was essentially just this whole history lesson of YTCW and like near 5-year-long feud with each other. And really, it was mainly just another part of the friend versus friend match.
Yeah.
That we've been going back and forth on in YTCW and COH for years. But when Copeland brought about the idea of him retiring to like the public, and I only found out about it through the page, I was just going like, shit! Well, shit has to change now. And really, out of all the feuds I had last year, mine with Copeland was the one that I spent the most work on. Mainly because, like, we were writing up the scripts, we kept in contact with each other, like, throughout the entire thing, because we had to pretty much just go like, we have to make sure that this script is done by this time because we have to script out our promos and everything and send it to one another for editing. And we pretty much had to get them, we had like a deadline where I felt like we needed to get them by so that we were prepared for them. But then everything got pushed back by a lot because of things on Travis's end, so that gave us a bit more time to get stuff all sorted. But I feel like my feud with Kirkwood was probably one of the best ones I had last year, if not the best due to how everything panned out in the end.
Right. What are your thoughts on the match at Ultimate Glory with Copeland? Like, how that match came out? 'Cause I really enjoyed the match, and I know a lot of people did. Did you enjoy it? Was there anything you didn't like about the match, or?
I felt like it was a really good match, but if I had one little thing that I wanted to put in there, I really wish it would have been a no-holds-barred match, because it would have just had that whole personal element of, by the end of it, we just wanted to both prove to each other that we were the best in any way possible. And I feel as though the best way to do that is if you have to just let out all your frustrations out of the person. And really, by that time, we were both really frustrated at each other.
Yeah.
So really, having a no-holds-barred match where we were just, like, pummeling each other and beating the fuck out of each other, I feel like that would have been, like, the best way to end off, like, the entire thing with, like, 5 years of frustration coming out on one another.
Well, speaking of frustrations, like, right before, I think you know I think you know where I'm going with this. Right before Ultimate Glory, there were these things called the COH Awards.
Oh, lordy.
And they were quite controversial, that, especially in regards to areas such as Breakout Star, Rookie of the Year, and, you know, I'm one of the people who was very vocal in my dissupport for some of the people who were chosen. And specifically, I'm going to talk about...
Stupid people shouldn't be voting. You know who you are. You see some retards. You see the other retards. Fuck each and every one of you.
I second everything Jay just said.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Guy goes and wins the world
I
title.
hope somebody comes to your house, right, and kills all your family members.
Oh my god, Jay!
I hope you get Baltimore.
Oh my god, Adam!
Well, are we really losing anything?
You were screwed. That was all. You were screwed.
Yeah, okay, Shawn, go.
Alright.
Under retards.
So, besides the fact that, you know, there was a guy who, for Breakout Star, won the world title but didn't win, someone else did. But whatever, that's besides the point. We're going to talk about Rookie of the Year. Now, you were up for that award, as were someone like Fisk was, who at least in my opinion, I felt it should have been either you or him. I think it should have been you, and if it wasn't you, if by chance it wasn't you, it would be Fisk, because that's the only other person I'm like, alright, I can maybe see that, but I still think it should be Nitro. However, some of the fans disagreed, and Stefan Guerrero won for Rookie of the Year. Now, that's not to say Stefan Guerrero didn't have a good year, but at least I know I felt he didn't deserve it over you, and I know while I was also vocal on it, you were also vocal yourself in regards to him winning the award and feeling that it should have been you that won the award. So what is your take on Stefan Guerrero winning the award and you not?
Honestly, like Jay and Adam said, I hold no, I feel like Stefan shouldn't have won, mainly because while he did have a pretty good year, well, let's just think about it. Stefan came in later than both me and Fisk on the entire roster. And yeah, while Fisk got pushed up first to Battleground and he got pushed up second, Fisk won the Pride title in his first 2 months of being on the program, and I won the Internet Championship in my first year in general. Meanwhile, what did Stefan do the entire year? just feud with Bateman on Battleground and do some slam matches.
And that's
Can you really call that? Can you really call that something worth giving like Rookie of the Year to?
That's why, because it was Bateman. Bateman, let's face it, he is the Undertaker of COH.
Mm-hmm.
He is. There's Bateman, other guys I don't want to name because I can't think right now, and everybody else. Bateman is the Undertaker, and for that, when you see with Bateman right away, that says something, and that's why people like the CWI retards or the CCL retards voted for Stephon Guerrero. I'm calling him retard, I don't care. Voted for Stephon Guerrero because holy crap, Justin Bateman wants to feud this guy, and that's why. That's my opinion, or that's my theory.
So, Nitro, do you agree, basically, what Jay's saying, and I'll make it a little bit more PC, whereas Stephon Guerrero, for the most part, won not because of what he did, but who he fought.
It also has to do with his supposed fan base outside of COH,
right.
with CCL and CWI. And really, I feel like if those people didn't end up voting, either me or Fisk would have won. Because let's face it, I had support from Alex, Steve, people like that, and really, Stephon only had some support from like the other members of like COH and everything, and really that's about it.
So I say right now, you're the uncrowned Rookie of the Year.
I'm cool.
And again, this is holding no animosity towards Stephon. You had a good year as well, but
no,
being
Stephon,
honest here,
cool. Stephon, we just hate your fans.
Yeah, Stephon, we don't hate you. We hate your fans. Your fan base is literally one of the worst.
I wouldn't say that. Ray Getty's and Suddy's are worse than Stephon's.
Oh, true. Okay, there we go. Stephon Guerrero fans, Ray Getty fans, you guys are fucking virgins. You've never...
Oh God, Jay.
You will never get laid.
Suddy
fans, you all suck. I love Stephon. I love Ray. Suddy's my little protege. That's right. Suddy's my protege. I made Suddy. So what do you say?
So you made his fans. Look what you did.
Pretty much did, yeah. So yeah, all of you fans, you all suck. You should have opinions. I hope someone kills your family. I really do. And I hope Detroit goes bankrupt.
What?
Well, you know. Okay then. So there's that with Stephon Guerrero and the Rookie of the Year, but we moved on from that. Obviously, we were very frustrated with it, but after a while, there was like, alright, there's nothing we can do. T1, whatever. Moving on. Now, COH is entering its new season. Just had the draft show. Ultimate Nitro is going to be on Battleground. And what are you looking forward to do on Battleground now that the roster is split in half? Who are some people maybe you're looking to get in there with, defend the title against, do a program with? What are you looking forward to overall this season?
Well, again, like I said, I'm planning on doing a thing with Stephon, and it's mainly going to revolve around that whole thing that happened with the poll and everything, because that just really got me a good idea of what I want to do for a supposed feud with him, and he agrees with it, so we're doing something with that. But I'm hoping to also do a little thing with Rucker as well to give Aha Country a bit of a send-off because, well, let's face it, aside from that one bitch at Anniversary, Aha Country hasn't really been relevant in a long time, so it's a good thing to just give it a proper send-off and just let us be single for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, with what Battleground has to offer, I honestly have no idea at this point. There are some more ideas which I'm not going to disclose right now because, well, spoilers. But I'm just going to say this. Battleground this year is going to be the year of Nitro. That's all I'm gonna say. Even if Battleground gets like their own version of the world title or something like that, I'm gonna make the Internet Championship better than that. I'm gonna make the Internet Championship the premier championship for Battleground.
Okay, alright. And do you feel as was doing that with the title and everything, you're going to be one of the leading front guys who are going to do what, like AJ Young said in his promo on the draft show, with guys like Zane LaFontaine, with guys like Alex, with guys like Copeland, guys who are now gone from COH, and it's now about the young guys, newer guys. You're going to take that and lead the front with whoever else is leading the front as well, and show people that while we're going to miss guys like Alex and Copeland and Zane, this doesn't mean it's the end. It's just the beginning of something incredible.
Oh, most definitely. Like, AJ really hit the nail on the head with what he said on there. Like, with all those people gone, and we're probably going to lose a lot more in the near future, the COH new guys definitely have to step up. And I get the feeling that the new generation that COH has to offer is going to make COH's future bright as the sun.
Well, alright, speaking of that, who needs to step it up?
There's not... Like, I have a big list of them, but really, I could just point to anyone that has come in like, the last few years, specifically last year, that didn't really step it up that much. But for those at the top of my head, Mark Kennedy, David Rivera, Brandon Wolf, fucking El Noveno, Jeff Zandig, or Prince Santos, or whatever he's calling himself right now. People like those. They need to step it up a lot more, because I see a lot of talent in them. I see a bit of myself in them because I was once like them. I see a lot of talent in them, and I feel like they can do so much more than what they're capable of. But they just need that opportunity. They need that opportunity. They need that kind of momentum to get them up there. Oh, and Jane, I see you in the text, and no, Ace Walker does not deserve a step up. He's fucking awful. I'm not sparing any words for Ace Walker. He is fucking awful. He's Garnet, Court, and Sharp mixed into one.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I'm gonna be quiet now.
I don't care if Ace cries about that. He deserves it.
Well, now, to touch back on the guys who are gone, who are leaving, how did that feel for you? Because you're a guy who has seen guys like Zane, a guy like Copeland, a guy like Alex come up through, whether it be YTCW, whether it be in COH, and now that they're done, what was it like seeing Ultimate Glory and realizing that this is it for them?
With Zane, I feel kind of disappointed he could never get the big one. With Alex, I feel like he's had this big career that's been at a pinnacle going up to its top last season, and I feel like it can only go... There's nowhere else he could go from there, so really, going out like he did was very fitting for him. And with Copeland, really... In character, Nitro just feels really sad and melancholy that he had to be the one to retire his best friend, but he knew in his heart that he knew that's what Copeland wanted from him.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, I just feel like those people have lives of their own, and really, with people like Alex, who's starting to get his own career in rap started, with Zane in real life, who's trying to become an announcer, and Copeland just in general, who's trying to get on with his life, they all have lives outside of COD that are ready to get moving. And really, they just don't seem to have the time for it anymore. And really, as someone who probably will be like that someday himself, I can understand that.
Right. Now, looking at the season upcoming, 5 guys who are going to be, I want to say world champion because, that's in general, who knows what's going to happen. Five newer guys who are going to main event level, who are going to be a top guy in COH. Who's going to be the 5 top new guys in COH, whether it be Slam or Battleground?
Like, does it have to be any new guys, or does it have to be like anyone?
It could be like for example, you can't say M Accuracy because he's been at the top, but you could say you because you're going to the top. Someone who's going from like the mid.
Okay, so anyone who isn't currently at main event status.
Right.
Okay. At the top of my head, not including myself, because honestly I feel like I could be main event material. At the top of my head, Lester Barkley, Fisk, Stefan Guerrero, Brandon Wolf, and this is probably going to be a really interesting choice, but I can see David Rivera getting up to that point himself.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Like, again, I can see a lot of talent within him. And really, I feel like as much as Mark Kennedy has a lot of potential in him himself, I see a lot in David Rivera.
David Rivera, that's an interesting one. I haven't seen many people see him to get there. That's interesting. So you could see Rivera being the breakout star?
I could see him becoming a breakout star at some point, yeah.
Huh, that's interesting. A lot of coups there for Dave Rivera. Let's see if he can live up to that. I certainly hope so. I wish him all the success in the world. Let's go to a couple of fan questions. Remember, people, AskFM/Shawn Walsh 105. You can send your questions, and they get answered on the show. It's a pretty cool deal. Who is one guy that you and the rest of the COH roster should look up to and strive to be like, and why?
Well, as much as he has retired now, I get the feeling a lot of people should look up to, if you're looking to be a face, you should look up to Zayn. I mean, look back at what he's done throughout his career, and then look at yourself and see how you could put that into your own persona. But don't immediately rip off what he's done in his career, because people will call you out immediately. I mean, I felt surprised myself when I found out that he actually considered me like one of his role models for his Sam LaFontaine character, and I was just going like, what? Because, well, I never saw myself as anyone that really anyone could base their character on, and I'm just going like, seriously? But yeah, if anybody wants to look up to being a face, look up to Zayn, and if you're looking up to be a heel, either look at M Accuracy or Alex. Those two are definitely some of the best heels I've seen in CAR recently. And I don't even need to tell you why on that one.
Oh, no, not at all. Trust me. They're the best for a reason. Now,
yeah, definitely.
Now, with them being the best, they've won the big one. So now the question is, after all these years you've been in CAW Wrestling, why has Ultimate Nitro not won the quote-unquote big one in any major federations? And the guy who said the questions is not meant as an insult towards you. It's to see, is it your fault? Is it the booker's fault? Why hasn't Ultimate Nitro got the big one yet?
Well, it's sort of a half and half sort of scenario. In YTCW, he always felt like it was always because of David pushing everybody else towards him, or in certain cases making it impossible for him to become champion, that he felt like he could never win the big one. Because in certain situations, he was always being placed in situations where it was near impossible for him to win. Or in certain cases, just outright taking him out of the match. A good example of this would be the Elimination Chamber before YTCW Riot, where in story, Nitro got taken out by, I'm supposing, one of David's goons.
Mm-hmm.
But in the area that he thinks that is his fault, I feel like that should be more attributed to COH. Mainly because it's a new start for Nitro, and he feels like around the time where, let's just say he got beat up by Fisk for the Pride title, he feels like he's not good enough, and he feels like he's still not at that point yet. So really, even though he hasn't won like the proverbial big one yet. It's a constant strive for him to do better. And really, at some point, you will see
What just happened?
No, this needs to be on. We just needs to be here. We need to be like this.
What just happened?
He was talking, and then he starts.
I thought my goddamn computer fucked up.
I did too. I'm sitting there, I'm waiting. He's like using.
Well, everybody, here's the reel. This is the J Crack stand up power hour, the blooper reel. So yeah, everybody, J Crack, it is stand up comedy. Go ahead, Jay.
What's the deal with airline peanuts? I mean, you can't open them, and they suck like Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. Hey, I have a joke. Knock knock.
Oh.
Who's there?
Connor.
Oh
Connor
no!
who?
Connor the Crusher is dead.
Why? That's not a joke.
No, come on, do a better Connor joke. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Connor the Crusher.
Connor the Crusher who?
You can't knock it over, he's dead.
Jesus. Oh, that's so bad.
You know, he didn't get to move up in the ranks like Nitro did.
No, he didn't.
Is this all going to be part of the blooper reel?
Yeah.
Yay. I hate dead kids. Everybody like that, okay?
Oh my god.
Please, give me heat. I've been wanting heat for a long time. I just want to have heat.
The elephant was on a date with a female, and I'm just joking. No woman would want to fuck a CCL fan because they can't get girls.
Okay, Nitro's back. Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, I just ran into some technical issues.
It's okay. Alright, so just pick up where you left off.
So, where'd you get up to?
What the fuck is it? What is he saying? There's gonna be like something. Is this gonna be a year? Am I right, Adam? Jay, was that right? Where he's gonna say like this is gonna be his year or something?
Yeah, around the time, yeah.
Yeah, he said that a while ago, though.
Yeah, well, I thought he was because this was about him when like.
Question was asked why he never won the big one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's gonna say like, I think you were saying like that like now you're.
Yeah, did I cut off in the middle of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where'd I cut off at then?
I remember you're gonna say Nitro because I remember you going nah, and then it got quiet.
Damn. But anyway, yeah. I feel as though Nitro never won the big one mainly because in YTCW it was always about his personal journey because of management. They were always supposedly keeping him down because they were always trying to push someone else like Master Boo Boo or somebody like that. So he always felt like it was management's fault during YTCW because of his own personal bias against David. And honestly, can you blame him because of how he was back then? But in COH, with how it is now, because of his new fresh start and everything, he feels as though it's his own fault because he feels like he's not doing enough. Because, you know, how he was back in the first half of the last season, where he unfortunately did not do his best up against, like, Fisk and everything. So he feels like it's his own fault nowadays because he hasn't won the big one, but he feels as though that, in a way, he can win the big one. It just needs to be about his own personal journey to win that. Because he's almost been in call for nearly 10 years now, so it's gonna happen at some point. It's just gonna be about the whole journey behind it.
Okay, alright. Now, obviously, you're in COH, but that's not the only place you're at. You're also in other places, which is awesome. Such as you're in ECF.
Yep.
As Brandon James. So, for some people who may not know ECF as well. Explain to them Brandon James.
Brandon James is essentially what happens was originally just a joke character that me and Andrew, some may know him as Fisk, came up with just on the fly. Because I was talking in a stereotypical Australian accent in a chat one time, and he was just going like, dude, we need to make that like a gimmick for you in ECF. And I was just going like, okay. But believe it or not, it went from just being a joke character to actually being somewhat serious. Because I just made him into the most stereotypical Aussie Crocodile Dundee character I could possibly do. And to me, it's probably one of the more fun characters I've done in the last few years, mainly due to the fact that I just get up on camera and act as stereotypically Australian as I go, and I just go like, oh, I might. So really, Brandon James is just a fun character for me to do, and it's just something to take a break from the whole seriousness of doing Nitro.
Right. Where else do you have a character, or is Ultimate Nitro? I know your Ultimate Nitro, he's coming into the AWF.
Yeah.
One of these weeks. You have to re-upload your call, because it did a stupid thing where it made you default.
Yes, bloody 2K14.
Yeah. Is there anywhere else that you have a call, or whether it be Ultimate Nitro or whoever, besides COH, ECF, or AWF?
I was gonna be in the FSW revival as Bradley Knox in Cash's-Fed Freestyle Wrestling, but I don't know whether or not that's still gonna happen or not.
It's probably not.
Well, if that's the case, I'm gonna explain the character of Bradley Knox. He's essentially just a bruiser for the Hearts that came around from probably one of the most brutal fighting schools around. And he's essentially what happens when you take a bruiser character with let's just say Nitro or Brandon James. Hell, I even mistakenly called myself Brandon James in the promo for FSW. And I was just going like, Jesus, I'm mixing up my characters.
Now, are there any other shows you want to be part of, or do you feel this is enough? What is your take on that?
If I end up getting into another show, it'll probably just be of my own accord. I don't exactly know when that's going to happen, but if it does end up happening, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like,
I'm always open because no one debuts yet, right, Sacco?
It will happen eventually. Okay.
Like, I'm always open to join new shows and everything if they interest me, or if they give me the opportunities to. I'm not going to turn it down unless I think their product's pretty subpar. And there hasn't been one that I haven't found a subpar one yet. So there's always going to be that opportunity.
From what I understand, you were supposed to be part of the very big project, that all of us were looking forward to, CWG.
Where are we?
Oh, yes, CWG.
Okay, maybe we weren't, and that's not gonna happen.
Was it gonna to begin?
Yes, it's not gonna happen, and I'm so depressed about it.
Sarcasm, everyone.
Yeah, for some people who don't know, Brian Carroll was gonna do his own call show. He bought the capture card and everything, and yeah, that's not happening. He's gonna send it back.
The reason it's not happening is because all of Ray Geddes' fans came to his house and burned his capture card alive, so that it will never ever exist.
Something like that. Now, speaking of Carroll trying to start his own show, what about you? Have you ever had the desire to want to do your own show, or have you always been pleased with being your own character?
I've always just been pleased with being my own character, really, because at the end of the day, I don't really have that sort of drive to do, like, a weekly or even bi-weekly show. It just doesn't really seem like that sort of thing I do, unfortunately. Plus, I don't really have the time nowadays to do it, nor the technology.
Right. Let's just say, hypothetically, you had your own show, and you were given the COH roster. Everyone from top to bottom. You could, and you had their titles. Who'd be your champions?
Ah, fuck if I know, man. Like, I'm terrible with these sorts of things, unfortunately. So, but unfortunately, I don't really have that many ideas for who I'd want to be my champion, because there are so many good champions out there. People who could be good champions. So really, I can't just place the role like a person and just go like, you be this one, you be this one, and you be this one. Because it would be just unfair to everyone else who I feel would be good.
Okay, alright. Let's see what else can I ask. What else do you want to accomplish in Call, besides the fact of becoming the world champion in a federation, besides, what people always say? Is there anything else you want to do yourself? It could be anything, like maybe you want to do, maybe you want to go to a different show, maybe you want to do a different character, maybe you want to do commentary, maybe, what is something different or new that you want to do in Call?
I honestly don't have that much of an idea of what else I want to do in Call at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Really, if whatever happens, I'll be happy to do it.
All right, so at the moment you're fine with where you're at. If opportunity comes, opportunity comes.
Definitely.
Okay, all right. So now we're going to take this to fun part, name association. So have some fun. All right, we're going to start things off with J-Crack.
Yeah.
Well, say your
Okay, Nitro. Name association is when someone gives you a name and you give your thoughts on them.
Okay, J-Crack. Really
Yeah.
awesome guy. Asian. And he's a cool guy.
No, there's more on that. Continue. Praise me more.
And he's gonna do really good this season.
And my hair.
What?
What about my hair?
Just go on, sucker.
Your hair is fucking beautiful, man.
All right. Kenyon Phoenix.
Crazy, has a really interesting gimmick. His song is not that fitting though, and I get the feeling he's gonna do a wonderful season this one as well.
He also
total pothead.
Yeah, he also thinks children dying is funny.
Oh, really?
And he threw away a cookie from me.
You
Yeah.
sick.
Fuck. What about Lester Barkley, aka Sonny?
Has really changed a lot during the last few years. Has a lot of great potential. His fan base is pretty interesting.
Okay, alright. Which is weird. Sonny just messaged me right now as I mentioned him.
Really?
That was my fault. I apologize.
Look what you did, Jay. Kayla Blair.
Kayla Blair. Really big pothead. Stone Bros and, fucking, I don't know, he's, portable food, I guess. He has a portable food fetish.
Interesting. Ray Geddes.
Don't know much about him. Really interesting to see what he brings to COH. His fan base isn't that good.
Alright. Ooh, this is a good one. That bastard, Ryan Carroll.
Hate to say it, but he's probably the weakest, bastard. He's lucky that he's still got you, and not really sure what's gonna happen to him when he ends up when he ends up being single.
Oh, well, Ryan Carroll is single, but that's besides the point.
I mean, in the tag team and everything.
I know. Alright. What about the Patriot?
Really good character. One probably has a lot of great potential in him for being champion, and honestly deserves his title reign right now. And he really deserved the win at Ultimate Glory.
Okay. What about M. Accuracy?
Really good take on an old character, especially considering what I know about him. It's one of the best heels I've seen in Car in a while, and one of the best and craziest characters. Has a lot of great potential for anyone who's going to feud with him.
Alright. Who else? Okay. Copeland.
Wished he would stick around a lot more because he had a lot more in him.
Yeah, definitely a lot more. Would have been really cool if he stuck around. TJ Profit.
Needs to work on a lot of different things, mainly his promos. Can barely understand him.
Alright. Travis Sparks. The Boss Man.
One of the best car bookers I've seen in a long time. Definitely up there. Always listens to what the people have to say as well.
Indeed. The Alex Enterprise.
Really cool dude to hang out outside of car. One of the best characters in COH. Definitely deserving of the Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay. Alright. David of YTCW.
Fuck him.
Daniel Mars.
Has a lot of heat behind him due to a lot of things that happened last season, and it's unfortunately pretty deserved, but he's making good use out of it. So I have to give him that.
Yeah, indeed. Alright. And I have one final name.
Yeah.
And that being someone you fought before, someone you're friends with, and that being Fisk, aka Andrew.
Pretty cool dude, really big geek. Unfortunately, he's not really that. He has a lot of issues outside of car and all that, but he's a really good. He's a really good pal.
He is. He's my protege. So, are there any final thoughts or anything you'd like to say to the viewers out there?
Yeah. My original idea for you know how I have a Japanese theme as my intro music? The main reason I chose that was because my original idea for what I was gonna do for my COH persona was that I was gonna be this really non-serious weeaboo character.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost went with that, but I didn't go through with it because I realized quickly nobody would take me seriously, and I would not be able to get the push I would have now if I went with that. So I almost went with a character that would have killed my career in COH almost immediately, just to have some fun.
Oh, I just thought of another question. Alright, how did the name, Aha Country come about? How did that whole Aha, was your theme song? Where did that come from?
I think that mainly just came from me and Rucker from putting the two aspects that put our two defining aspects together with my Aha theme song and his country aesthetic together.
Okay, alright. And I've been informed to ask you about Shark Boy.
Shark Boy? Really? You're asking me about Shark Boy?
Give me a shell, yeah.
Really bad Stone Cold Steve Austin ripoff just to be fun. What the hell, TNA?
Shark Boy or Ray Geddes? Who does it better?
Ray Geddes.
Damn it, he's right.
Alrighty. Thank you, Nitro, for coming on. This was awesome. This was funny.
Yeah, it was, definitely.
I hope you got to say everything you wanted to say.
Oh, I did, definitely. Don't worry, man. This was a big cleanse for me, and I really hope everybody that's listening to this right now enjoyed what I have to say. And if you're listening to this right now, and if you heard anything I said be negative about anybody that you like, take it with a fucking grain of salt.
And fuck off. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, thank you for coming on. It was a blast. Hopefully in the future, after we see the rise of Nitro, maybe one day getting a big one, we have to come back and talk about that.
Indeed, I will.
All right.
And that's my interview with Ultimate Nitro. Very fun interview. We went all the way back to YTCW, to his days in COH now. Talked about him now being in the AWF, which he will be making his debut very soon. You're going to be very excited to see what Nitro has lined up in the AWF. We couldn't talk about that in the interview, obviously. But when I do have Nitro back, there's going to be some things we're going to talk about in regards to what he's doing in AWF, and I can't say any more. But look forward to that. Now, I'm going to get to the part I promised at the beginning of the episode, where Ultimate Nitro is going to address the controversial statement he made on the Call Shoot page a few weeks back involving the Doctor, Ray Geddes, and overall CCL, shall we say, personnel coming into COH and COH pandering to the CCL fans. So we're going to get to that. But before I do that, we're going to have a very, very, very awesome interview next week for the Shawn Walsh show, and that is me interviewing Caleb Blair. It's going to be epic. It's a very long interview. It dates back all the way to 2009 when me and Cash got to know each other. Through all the stuff we've done since 2009 throughout, whether it be DIW, whether it be his old call shows, whether it be him as Brock Manson in the AWF, whether it be today as Caleb Blair in COH. We talk about all that. In fact, we talk about all that, and it goes on so long because there's so much that has happened with me and him that the episode is 3 hours long. So I'm going to ask all of you, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to, because I'm splitting this episode up. I'm not uploading a 3-hour video. That's just not going to happen. Do you want me to upload one episode next week, and then the following week you can hear the second part of the interview? And I know how I can split it up. And some people may pick that because maybe they have some episodes they have to catch up on. Maybe that's a lot for 1 week. You put the one up, give some time, and then they can listen to another one. Or would you like me, if I can, try to release one episode, like maybe Friday night, and then maybe then an additional bonus episode, which contains part 2 of the interview, the next day, or that Sunday, or whatever, depending on my schedule. So, it's up to you guys what you want me to do. Let me know. I'm going to be asking on the Call Shoot page, so just let me know. Now, not going to wait any more time. I'm going to send it to my exclusive bonus interview with Ultimate Nitro, which he addresses his comments from the Call Shoot page. So let's give a listen to that.
Alrighty.
Nitro, you've been involved in a bit of controversy as of late, which is a little bit different for you, but you made a post on the Call Shoot page, and it was not a popular post at all. So why don't you explain what you said in the post and try to clear that up?
Okay, so for those of you who don't go onto the Call Shoot page, about a couple weeks ago I made a post regarding Ray Geddes and the Dr. Gary Lockland on there, and their involvement within COH. Mainly this comes from a few outside sources regarding Ray, but it's my own personal opinion when it comes to Gary, so I guess it'd be fair to talk about my opinion towards Gary in regards to what I said in there. Basically, what I said about Gary, or the Doctor as most of you may know him, is that I found his performance on the first Battleground to be very lackluster at best. And it wasn't meant to be a personal attack on him, but what I said basically was he didn't know anything about the Battleground roster or anybody on the roster that he knew about. And really, my main points of criticism go from that, and the fact that he seemed very lifeless when he tried to bring about his stuff on commentary. Now, I have a personal attachment when it comes to that sort of stuff, because outside of core, I am currently studying a bachelor's degree in acting. So, when not only do you not know anything about the core fed you're getting into regarding its superstars and all that, and you're not doing a good job at trying to hide that fact, nor try to hide your unenthusiasm behind your commentary, it kinda strikes a nerve with me. So, yeah, that's basically where it comes from with Gary. But with what I said about Ray, can I talk about what happened, Shawn? Like, regarding what happened beforehand?
Oh yeah, you can talk about.
Okay, so basically earlier that day I was talking to you, Shawn, and a bunch of other people in a Skype call that day, and well, I'm just going to say it out right now. There was a bit of a rumor going around about Ray. For the sake of this interview, I'm not going to say what was actually said during that whole thing, but the gist of it was, it seems like there was going to be a bit of pandering onto Ray's side due to his involvement within COH and his fan base outside of it. Again, that struck a nerve with me because I hate the idea that you have to pander to a certain fan base just because they're new to the product and they're the new fans of it and everything. And that essentially just struck a huge nerve with me. And that just really struck a huge nerve with me, mainly because with all these other people that you got on the roster and everybody else that's involved with it, you're choosing to pander to one man and his entire fan base solely because he's popular outside of COH. And really, my main argument was that you can't transfer someone's popularity from one fed into another fed. It just doesn't really translate that well, especially considering a lot of people who watch COH probably don't watch stuff like CCL or any other feds that Gary and Ray are in. So, for one, his popularity wouldn't make that much sense to those who probably don't watch CCL and are probably only watching COH. And even if they do, it wouldn't really make that much sense considering what happened to Great D. I mean, let's just be honest here. Great D came in as an established talent outside of COH, and he came and already went for the Pride Championship. Obviously, a lot of people, Andrew, we know him as Fisk, was well deservingly pissed about that because, I'm just gonna say right now, the original plan was for Great D to break Fisk's streak. And, understandably, Fisk and a lot of other people, including myself, are kind of pissed about that idea, because having someone like Great D who's new to COH, and I'm just gonna be honest right now, and here's the crux of my argument. If you're an established talent outside of a fed that you're coming into as a newbie, it doesn't really matter what kind of credibility you have. You're new to the company, and you have to start from ground zero. You can't bring your talent
You can't bring any new talent that has that established talent and just assume that they're going to have start at where they were in their Fed. You can't do that. It just doesn't really make sense in clean. Would you agree on that statement, Shawn?
Absolutely.
See? And really, the whole crux of my argument for both of them is, for Ray, it was just, yeah, you're popular in CCL, but this is COH. You can't have that same popularity automatically. It just doesn't work like that.
And it wasn't a personal attack on him, like everyone thought it was.
Yeah! Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I've talked to Ray a lot since then, and there's no personal between us. And while at the time a lot of people may have been thinking, oh, he's just personally attacking Ray because he's more popular. That's not it. In fact, I do kind of respect Ray. He's pretty good. But in terms of people thinking that he's going to be this popular juggernaut from CCL and bringing that sort of popularity into COH, I just didn't see that happening.
So, just to clear up for everyone out there, between yourself, Ray, the Doctor, there's no personal animosity between you guys.
Oh yeah, there's absolutely no personal animosity between any of us. Like, I know for sure there's nothing going on between me and Ray right now, and I know that I have no beef with Gary at this point in time, especially given what I said. Besides, COD is meant to be this fun little hobby. It's not meant to be taken too seriously. I was just trying to make some kind of constructive criticism. But at the same time, I could have said it a lot better. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
Right. Well, thank you for clearing that up. And hopefully some of the people that were upset or maybe even are offended or angry by what you said or see it a bit more clearly.
Yeah, I really hope that as well, man, because seriously, I do admit that I kind of overstepped the line a bit with what I said in terms of how I said it. But at the end of the day, we all kind of make those kinds of mistakes, and I fully admit that what I said was not the best way to go about it. But at the same time, it could have been said. It had to have been said because, let's just face it, I'm just gonna say this right now. I'm not the first person to say these kinds of opinions. I was just the first person to state it out loud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those are the ones who end up getting the shit for it. I would know. Alright.
Indeed.
Well, thank you for that. I think we cleared that up.